Alright, leek potato and cheese puff pie. First of all, you're going to need something to bake your pie in. So I'm using a fairly deep dish because I want to get plenty of filling in this one. You're going to need a couple of potatoes. You're going to need about the same weight in leeks. And I'm lazy, so I'm buying my puff pastry in sheets all ready to go. You can make your own if you want to. And for the base, the puff pastry goes on top, and for the base underneath I want just ordinary short crust pastry. You're also going to need some cheese. I use mature cheddar cheese. This is English cheddar, and it's already grated for me because I'm lazy. So first off, we need to cook the potatoes, and we need to cook the leeks off just to get them into a state where they're actually a pie filling. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use my steamer. I'm going to put the potatoes in the bottom and the leeks in the top to steam as the potatoes cook, and I'll get back to you as soon as I'm prepped up. Alright, that's all prepped up. Now I just need to get some salt into there and some water. We're going to put cheese in this, so you don't need to over salt it, so you just need just about, let's say, a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of salt, and then top it up with water. Alright, I'll get back to you once all that's steamed up. First of all, I want to oil the pie dish. This is actually a frying pan. I like the depth of it. It's a small frying pan, and I've just taken the handle off so it can so I can easily use it for this purpose. And what I do is I go, just make sure all the surfaces of it are brushed with oil, and then I take my short crust pastry sheet, and as you see, I'm not very expert at handling this stuff, but press it right down into the pie dish, patch up any holes, and make sure that it's all pressed nicely in, ready to receive its filling. I don't want to trim that off just yet. I'll trim that off at the end once I've got all the filling in it. So there we are, we're just waiting for everything to cook, and I'll get back to you. Right, there you are, the potatoes are all mashed, and the leeks are steamed, and I'm just going to mash up the spuds. Just mash them up fairly roughly, don't need to get too, don't add anything to this at the present time because there's going to be cheese and there's going to be leeks going into there. So now I'm going to add the leeks. The leeks go straight out the steamer, of course, into the mix. It may seem like a lot of mix, but I'll show you for why in a moment. Put that in and get that mixed in well. So mix that in well. And it's at this stage that you add the cheese. I'm adding about a generous cup of grated English cheddar cheese to that. And this is why we don't add too much salt, is because cheese in itself is rather salty, and that forms the basis of your pie filling. Now mix it in rather well. Make sure you add, it's a good generous cup of cheese. That's your cheese added, stir it in. And there you are, voila, you got yourself a pie filling. Right, the next thing we do is fill up the pie. Alright, we get the pie filling into the pie. This cheese is starting to string already, look, awesome. And as you see, it makes a nice domey mound on the top of the pie. And you'll see what we're going to do with that in a minute, because that is one hell of a nice pie. Right, there we are. This is the puff pastry now rolled out, and I've cut it off roughly square, and I've got a bit left over, but I'll show you what to do with that in a little bit of time. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to make that lovely star-shaped pattern that you saw in the thumbnail. Alright, now the way I do that is I make a cross in the centre. I then go that way and then that way, that way, and that way. So we use a rolling pin to transfer it to the pie dish without breaking it, and to that end I do it this way, and just so it doesn't stick I put it on there. Then we get the pie across, and I'm using a bit of egg wash here, but you can use milk or just hot water if you want, to seal the edges of the pie. And I go along the edge. I like using egg wash because it's nice and sticky and it makes a lovely shine on the outside of the pie as well, and you'll see that in a minute. So, and you're going to make sure that you get that centerpiece right in the center of the pie, like that, and then just roll that over, and now get that right in the middle, push that down on the edges, okie doke, and once it's on the top of the pie, make a couple of cuts just to make sure. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the outside of the pie with a fork, and I go around like this, just so they overlap, making sure to press down. Once you've got it to that stage, what I do now is I lift the pie, just flick that back so it's all there, and then with the back of a knife I just go round the edge, taking off the excess, like that. That now goes into the oven, 200 degrees Celsius, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, for around about 30 to 35 minutes. First of all though, I'm going to put on the egg wash. Plenty of egg wash on the outside. This gives it a lovely, lovely appearance. Make sure you brush it all around the crust. You can, of course, if you don't like eggs, you can always brush that with milk. And there you are, that's ready to go in the oven. Alright, here we are. Okay, I got the star slightly off centre, but I think you know where I was trying to go with that. I think in retrospect I should have just put the pie lid on and then made the star cut once it was on. But there you go, we can't turn back time, can we? But I think you'll agree with me, that's a rather spectacular result. This is a pie I like to cool down and eat cold. It has a much better texture when it's cold, and because of the elements in it, the leek, the potatoes and the cheese, it really, really works well when it's cold. You can eat it hot, but I think it's more of a picnic pie, this one. Alright, potato, leek and cheese puff pastry pie.